Welcome to our scan code mass serialization presentation and a product demonstration of our family of tamper-proof seals, especially designed for pharmaceutical packaging. Now that we mark the aluminium crimp with our track inside lasers, we can also add a scan code to the label, and these two codes can be linked through ERP system, which in turn can be linked to a code on the secondary packaging, for example the G10 code, and part of the G10 code can be our scan code, or inside a label seal we can also embed the number. In addition, we will develop mobile applications, branded mobile applications, and these are also linked to the ERP system, and we do that across all the different mobile platforms. So this total system gives a very strong advantages for you. Firstly, it gives a robust distribution control. It gives added value for end users such as enforcement, customs, doctors and nurses, as well as patients. So for example, the patient or the end user can look in the marketplace of the mobile phone and maybe searching for a particular ailment or a product name and get particular information about that application, what it can do for the end user. We can have secure logins for enforcement people, for example. Here you have description about what the application does, and we develop then the branded mobile application especially for you. This can be filled with all sorts of information and built however you want. For example, here talking about what tinnitus is, talking about the product itself, and the patient can then read about the product and also forward that on to social media, Facebook and Twitter, for viral spreading. We can also embed videos, so examples of other patients having similar ailment problems, and where possible even to buy it directly from the mobile app and delivered to your house. Let's look at the family of tamper-proof seals. These will be all having tamper evidence, authentication and coding. Let's look at the first example. We'll call a Pharma seal with a G10 code on the packaging. And in this example we would use, for example, a clear label. And every time the labels are optimized for your packaging with special adhesives, special sizes, special materials, perforations, tamper evidence, all this is optimized every time. Here you can see 3 perforations along and a bunch of different die cuts which help the tamper evidence. In this example we are applying the transparent label across the G10 code, and the G10 code can be also comprising of our scan code. And you can see here it's covering it up, so it's if it was being manipulated you couldn't be. The adhesives are very strong, as you can see. If you tried to remove the label and place it somewhere else, it just breaks apart. But it still keeps the opening effect easy for the patient, where the perforations are put at the opening. So you can see it just pops open. The next example is covering a scan code. In this case we print directly onto the packaging our scan code, which is a 2D data matrix or a QR code, adding to that the alphanumeric also. So these are random codes and with a very high encryption. More information about that later. So in this case we could take a similar label as we had before, place it over the scan code so it can't be manipulated, and can still be read openly on the package or typed into a browser, because there's the human readable part of it as well. Let's look at a Pharma seal with an embedded scan code. This time the code is inside the seal itself. Here you can see this seal has a transparent milky white part of it, so that could be covering up writing that's already on the packaging, and you could still read it. It wouldn't stop the reading through the label. The rest of it is opaque. So here you can see two red lift-off latches, and it goes around two 90-degree corners, and we help you with the application of these types of labels. We have lots of experience with application machines. So the removal of the label is using a lift-off latch which has no adhesive underneath it, and as you reveal it, you can see the open sign, the tamper evidence, and you reveal the code that is embedded. And here you can see open everywhere, and it's what we call a dry peel label, which means the remainder is dry. You can't just put the top layer of the label back on again. The bottom layer stays on the package. And then we optimize the opening. In this case, we've actually put in a round part. So this would be optimized for a box with a thumb latch in the box. And then the opening is just the two parts of the label that's left. And then these codes are just 10-digit alphanumeric, can be 12, can be more, but in this case it's 10, and easy to read by most mobile phones these days, and in this case here you could even buy it. Here's another similar type of label. You can see here the labels are coded, this time coded sequentially with a human readable, but that can also be a machine readable data matrix, for example. So you know every single label which has been put, and you know onto which package it's been put. So in this case we're putting the code which is inside the label onto the box. We know which label has been put onto that particular box. You can see the code is actually able to be read, or you can see there's a code underneath that checker silver foil, but you can't read it because there's not enough of the code available. And again here you could remove it using the lift-off latch, and as you remove it you get the tamper evidence. You see that opening effect, and in this case the code stays on the box. We can also get it to be removed if necessary. It can be either way. So that there you can see it's a dry peel, it cannot be replaced. And we have microtext along the edge there. Now the next one is covering up a pre-printed scan code. A little bit like the first example, except this time we're going to use a label that has a opaque area. There's the microtext running down the edge there, can be the brand for additional security. We have a holographic foil which is going to cover up the code that's already been printed on the box. Now this can be a GTIN code that's already printed on the box, or it can be a scan code, just the scan code part, but the scan code can be part of the GTIN. In other words, the variable part of the GTIN can be what we would call then scan code, and you can see it's covering that up very nicely. You can see how to open it. It's got that lift-off latch in red, can be any color of course. We can optimize that. In this case you can take it off from either corner, doesn't really matter. Let's take it off. You get the opening effect, so you get the tamper evidence, and then as you take off, and it's a dry peel, as you take it off completely you then reveal the code that was already printed onto the box. Now as the last example, let's look at a tamper evidence sealing a vial itself. So sealing the primary package. In this case it's also a label with a lift-off latch protruding outside of the flip-off, runs down the side of the vial, also tamper evident, giving a void effect. We have, let's say, high quality printing, which you can put all sorts of microtext, nice logos and colors. And as you reveal and open the code, you also the seal, you also see the code and read it as before. So let's look at the scan code mass serialization advantages. Its code generation is done at the printer and at the laser. We come and help you install this onto your printer and into your laser, so you get it online, so there's no downtime. These codes are all random and never repeating, which we absolutely guarantee. Extremely high security PGP encryption. It is really impossible to reverse engineer. And all of the communication done outside of our secure databases is using the PCI DSS standard, the highest standard available. And then the information that's returned through to the end users can be different depending on the user groups. So for example, a customs official, if he's typing in a code, he may want to know if it's in the right country. Doctors and nurses will need more information. Internal investigators may need to know which distributor it was sent to. And the patient, general product, leaflet information, and expiry date, and videos, as explained before. So this is absolutely customizable, and we can do that for you. So you can see that there's lots of advantages of using these types of mobile phone applications, and we really look forward to hearing back from you, and we thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.